Welcome to the Year 10 into Year 11 course selection presentation. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we are gathered on and pay my respects to their elders both past, present and emerging, and the elders of other communities who may be here today. The course selection process has several steps, and I'm sure you're aware of these as you've been doing this for a couple of years already. But we're beginning the process with this session which is running in our CAP, which will give you an overview of the process to refresh and remind you and prepare you for what is coming next. There are a series of presentations which have been recorded that you'll be able to watch with your family in case you need to clarify or go back over any of that important information, and you can find these on Career Tools. You can also find the course selection PDF, which outlines each of the subjects that are available for you to select across the VCE and VCE VM programs. To support you to make the best possible decisions when it comes to your program, we also have the Course Selection Expo evening running on Tuesday the 30th of July from 4 until 7 p.m. And then the final and most exciting step of the process is the opportunity to submit your online preferences, which we do via Career Tools between the 12th and the 16th of August. So looking ahead to what's going to happen for you in 2025, the most important decision that you will be making across your senior secondary education is to determine if you're going to do a VCE or a VCE VM program. Now, regardless of which of these two programs you select, and we'll explain a lot more about the differences in the two throughout this presentation, you need to be clear that all of our Year 11 students will be completing a series of 12 units across their Year 11 year. And if we think about within the VCE, this is made up of one unit being equivalent to one semester of a subject. So each subject at Year 11, you complete 2 units, which means we're studying 6 units in each semester. Now, it's really important that you think about the subjects that you choose very carefully, as when you are signing on to do either the VCE or the VCE VM, you're really selecting a 2-year course. So your subjects have a total of 4 units, units 1, 2, 3 and 4, which you complete over Year 11 and Year 12. So you need to think carefully about the subjects that you're going to select, because you are going to be spending the next 2 years with focus on them. Now, the VCE is a program which sits within the Victorian Curriculum and Assessment Authority, and they oversee the program, which means they are the ones who set the regulations about what it means to be successful in completing your VCE or your VCE VM, which is formerly known as VCAL. And they can determine the types of things that are included in the curriculum, so the key skills and key knowledge for each of your subjects, and the way that we assess each of these subjects. So if we think about finishing Year 10 this year and moving into a program which is going to run across our Year 11 and Year 12, whether you choose the VCE or the VCE vocational major, if you fulfill the requirements of either of those programs, you will complete your senior secondary education with a Year 12 pass. But we need to think a little bit about what these two programs are and which one is going to be the right one for you. So if you complete the VCE, you can see the left-hand column here, you will need to complete one of the Englishes. So that's English, EAL, if you are a student who is eligible for EAL, or literature. Plus, if you do a pure VCE program, you complete 5 additional Unit 1 and 2 subjects at Year 11. If you're interested in a vocational subject, you can choose to do a VCE with a VET. So you still do your English subject, you select one VET course, which will run over the 2 years of your VCE, and then you would select 4 additional VCE subjects. If you are a student who has started your VCE early and you've been doing a VCE Access subject this year, you'll need to select one from the English suite of programs. You'll continue on your VCE Access subject, moving into Units 3 and 4 next year, and then you will select 4 new VCE Unit 1 and 2 subjects. If you select the VCE VM, which is the vocational major program, you complete a series of vocational major subjects. You have less flexibility and choice when it comes to your subjects. There is in fact only one free choice subject in the VM, and you must have a VET course as part of your program in order to be eligible to complete this type of certificate. Across the VCE curriculum, you can see we have a range of subjects across the 8 learning areas that we have in the college. And with the exception of the Englishes, where we have to select one of those three, either mainstream English, EAL if we qualify for EAL, or literature, you can then select an entire program based on subjects that suit your interests, your needs, and your potential pathways as you think about where you're heading beyond school. So the choice is entirely up to you. At the end of your 2-year VCE program, you must have completed successfully 16 units across the 2 years. So remembering that each unit runs for a semester, that will mean we try and complete 12 units at year 11 and 10 units at year 12, which is equivalent to 6 subjects at year 11 and 5 subjects at year 12. Across that program, to become eligible for a VCE certificate, you must have a satisfactory completion of at least 3 units of English, which includes the 2 year 12 units. So that's units 3 and 4. You also have to satisfactorily complete 3 other sequences of year 12 subjects. So that's completely successful across a whole year, 4 English plus 3 additional year 12 subjects. Alongside the units that you've completed at year 11 and additional units at year 12, if you're completing those also, that then contributes towards being eligible to receive a VCE certificate upon graduation. What this might look like across that 2-year program can be seen on this slide here. So all students will select English or one of the Englishes. And as you can see there, it's really important that you have 3 units of English, including Unit 3 and 4, in order to qualify for your VCE certificate. We can see that this student chose Health and Human Development and completed that subject across Year 11 and Year 12, gaining 4 units. We can see the same for Psychology. We can see that this student selected General Mathematics at Year 11, but chose not to pursue that subject into Year 12. We can see that this student chose a vocational subject, which is Vet Dance, and Physical Education. So you can see here that the student started off with a program of 6 subjects, including a vet, and then completed Year 12 with 5 subjects, including their vet. They were unsuccessful in 2 units across that 2-year program, but because they had that sequence of satisfactory results across at least 4 of their Year 12 subjects and a total unit count overall, they are eligible to be successful in achieving their VCE certificate. If we select to be part of the VCE Vocational Major Program, this is a slightly different program. So this is still recognised as a senior secondary qualification, and it's a fabulous opportunity for students to use a more hands-on real-world approach to their learning. It is a competency and skill-based learning program, and it has quite a lot more flexibility in terms of its approach. Typically, students who complete a VM program spend 4 days on site at the college, completing their VM subjects, and they spend 1 day either on their vet placement or on a school-based apprenticeship, and they potentially will do a series of work placements across their 2-year program also. So the VM really develops and extends pathways for our students beyond those academic pathways and into something much more practical and vocationally based. However, students who wish to apply for a VM need to go through an application program so that we can make sure it's the best fit for them. And they need to think about where they see themselves travelling outside of school once they finish their senior secondary education. So students who select VM will not be able to directly apply to university upon completion of Year 12. So that might be a factor that needs to be taken into consideration when you're choosing which of these certificates. And you can see this in this infographic. So both VCE and VCE VM students will gain that senior secondary qualification, a Year 12 pass, if they are successful. However, vocational major students aren't able to immediately apply to and enter into a university level course at the end of their Year 12 studies. They would need to consider a study in a TAFE or a slightly different tertiary environment. They won't be able to make an application direct to a university. So you need to think carefully if this is the right program for you. Now, our students in either VCE or VCE VM can select to choose a VET subject. So this is a vocational education and training subject, typically offered by TAFE providers, where students can get a TAFE certificate qualification across their 2 years in that program. We have a separate handbook which outlines the possible VET subjects that are available across our VET cluster, which is a series of 23 local schools and TAFE facilities within the Wyndham area. These are much more targeted in terms of specific vocational areas such as dance or animal studies, horticulture, and a lot of these courses have work placements, which may or may not occur during the school holidays. So if VET is something that you are interested in, you need to think a little bit carefully about how this is going to impact your timetable. And the types of things that we need to consider is if you choose to do a VCE program, you can only select a VET that will run on a Wednesday afternoon, because otherwise it will be too disruptive to your timetable. And our VCE VM students can undertake VET on any day they choose, but we prefer them to do it on a Wednesday or a Friday. So if you're interested in taking up a VET subject as part of your course selection, we will have a compulsory information session which runs on Wednesday the 31st of July in period 4. If you look out for a post asking for your expression of interest in the Year 10 team, you'll find out some more information about that session. It's a compulsory part of the application process because there's quite a few steps you need to undertake to sign on for VET. We'll also, as part of that process, give you an application form to complete. You need to make sure you have a USI number as part of that, and we can step you through the process. For those students who are completing the VCE, you might want to start thinking about factors such as your ATAR, which is the score which is used by tertiary institutions to select students into their programs. And it's based on your internal school results and your external VCAR run exams. And each student within the VCE receives a study score out of 50 for each of their Year 12 Unit 3-4 subjects. To calculate the ATAR, those scores are combined with the English result plus the 3 next best subject results, plus a 10% increment of the 5th or 6th subject in the student's program. So you can see here what this might look like. Students receive a result for their Semester 1, Unit 3, their Semester 2, Unit 4, and then their external examination. So you can see there are 3-letter results that contribute to that. Those results are calibrated towards a study score, which is scaled and based on a score out of 50. Those scores are then combined into an aggregate, which then determines the student's ATAR. You can see for a student who's completed VCE Access, they will generally have a 6th subject in their calculation, which gives them a slightly higher increment, improving their chances of getting a higher ATAR score. For our VCE Access study students, moving from Year 10 into Year 11, their subject selection will be slightly different. They will be selecting 5 of their Unit 1 and 2 subjects, plus continuing on with their VCE Access subject at a Unit 3 and 4 or a Year 12 level. Moving beyond that into their final year of schooling, these students have the option to potentially repeat their VCE Access subject, complete a new VCE subject, or potentially take up a university enhancement subject. To support you with this decision making, because there's a lot to consider, you might want to visit the course selection booklet. This is a PDF which is located on the Career Tools website. And you can see within the course selection section, this document, it's going to provide you with a summary of each of the subjects that you can choose to form part of your program and give you a little bit more information about what each of these looks like. You can also take into consideration the study designs provided by the VCAA for each of your subjects if you wish to find out more information. So it's really important that you think about this course selection booklet as being part of your overall pathway plan. The booklet's going to give you a summary of each of the VCE and VCE VM subjects, and you need to be mindful that you are selecting a 2-year program with your VCE with the intention that you'll complete 4 units or 4 semesters within each of these subjects. All of this material can be found via the course Career Tools page, which you can locate, as you can see there, from the compass star. You scroll down to the course selection section, and that will give you all of the information that you need to support you with your decision making. You'll also find information here to include suggested subject choices based on careers that you might be interested in, which will help you to determine the best subjects for you. Each of you will be sent your individual logins to your school email address. Once you have that login, you need to submit your preferences online, and we then print out a hard copy of that for you to get parent permission and return to the careers office. If you've got any questions or concerns about this process, we suggest that you visit the Careers Resource Centre and see Mr. Tung or Mr. DeRouge, or one of us in the senior school, so that we can help you to make an informed choice. So make sure you speak to your parents and your carers. Make sure you speak to your teachers. You think carefully about this process and have a conversation